had struggled to conceive. When my husband and I were ready to start a family, I was a little bit older,
Mhm.
and the doctor told me that I had about a 10% chance in conceiving, yes.
Wow.
And so that was
Tough to
devastating
hear.
news.
Very tough to
Exactly.
hear. Hey everyone, it's your host, Catherine. I'm here for another episode of the GC 360 podcast, filmed here right in downtown Garden City. Today, I'm joined by an amazing yogi, Miss Lisa Pineda. Hey, how are you doing, Lisa?
What an intro. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for
It's
having
great.
me.
Yes, thank you so much for coming. So, can you just tell us a little bit about your business?
I'd love to. So I specialize in teaching yoga for fertility.
Okay, wow.
Yes. I started out in general yoga.
Hmm.
I started out as a student, like most yoga teachers did. I practiced for, I would say, a good solid 10 years before
Wow.
obtaining my yoga teacher training certificate.
Okay.
And then I moved on to get advanced trainings in other arenas. But more specifically, what I do is I help women, individuals, families who are struggling to conceive.
Hmm.
And I base this practice based on my own personal
Hmm.
struggles with fertility.
Gotcha.
Uh, I was a little bit older in life when my husband and I were ready to start a family.
Okay.
I had worked in the corporate world on Wall Street
Oh, wow.
for a couple of years, yes.
Wow.
And my outlet, at first it was taking different gym classes,
Yeah.
just getting out there, and it was the best way to relieve
Yeah,
stress.
I love that.
Yeah, and I loved all the different offerings, and the variety of teachers in the city were amazing. But when I came across this amazing yoga studio in the city,
Mhm.
um, it hooked me on day one. So that's where I went to basically relieve a lot of stress. And I remembered at first it was about the physical workout
Right.
and just going to such a beautiful, serene studio and
Mhm.
meeting all these amazing yogis who were into health and wellness,
Mhm.
and not just doing it there in the yoga studio, but
Mhm.
actually taking that practice and incorporating it into their lives
Yeah.
through nutrition
Mhm.
and exercise and mind and well-being. So, um, starting out, it was the yoga practice, the physical moves, but then
Mhm.
eventually it was the meditation breath work
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
sustained me. Yes. So, um, going back to your question,
Yeah.
I had struggled to conceive when
Mhm.
my husband and I were ready to start a family. I was a little bit older,
Mhm.
and the doctor told me that I had about a 10% chance in conceiving, yes.
Yeah.
And so that was
Tough to
devastating
hear.
news.
Very tough to hear.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It is. It is
absolutely.
really hard because you think, okay, when I'm ready to start a family, boom,
Yeah, I can have a
let's
family.
at
Yeah.
any time.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that is not the case. But I knew that I was able to conceive, and that was because I had a miscarriage early on.
Oh, I'm so
So it
sorry.
was, yeah, it was tough.
Mhm.
But that was, the test that proved that I was able
Mhm.
to get pregnant. It was just a matter of time.
Wow. Yeah,
So
I'm sure that
eventually,
was it. Yeah.
yes, exactly. I was able to conceive. And luckily for me, I was a yoga instructor already. And I made it my mission to give back to the community because everything that I learned when I was struggling during the times that I
Mhm.
wanted to get pregnant, I came back to yoga. Yoga
Yeah.
helped calm me. It helped center my mind and
Mhm.
body, especially when I was going through the fertility struggles.
Yeah, I mean, I personally tried yoga for a while when I was in college.
Did you?
Yeah,
What
I
did you
mean,
think?
yeah, I thought it was great. I think
That's
there's like a
awesome.
lot of chaos in life.
Yeah.
And I think walking into a yoga studio and just going in there and like the calm music, the breathing, I would go in there and I would just start feeling so refreshed. It
Right?
definitely makes you mentally and physically feel refreshed. So I can understand how, like, in a difficult time in your life, that's definitely kind of like a rock, so to say, in your life to go back to. So that's really interesting. So how have you personally, besides the fertility, what other effects have you felt of yoga within your life?
So, what I really love about the yoga practice
Mhm.
is that you're able to center your mind on top of
Mhm.
your breath. When you are moving through the physical postures,
Mhm.
you are following your breath. And when you follow your breath, you're present.
Mhm.
And when you're present in your mind and your body, you're creating this alignment within you. And when you're creating this alignment within you, you're becoming healthier and stronger, and you're bringing yourself more mind body awareness.
Mhm.
So, for instance, the next time you're reactive or somebody sets you off, you could
Mhm.
take a step back. You can
Mhm.
maybe realize, oh, I didn't eat. That's why I'm short tempered.
Yeah.
Or, that person said something, but you know what? That person maybe is just in a bad mood, and I'm not going to react to that. So it gives you the opportunity
Mhm.
to be more aware of your surroundings, and that's the beauty of yoga.
Yeah.
There's a lot of misconception
Mhm.
that yoga is about these beautiful poses that you've
Yeah.
seen, and that you've got to have this um, certain pose or certain body type, and that is the biggest misconception about yoga. No,
Mhm.
it's not about that at all. It's about, yoga's an over 5,000-year-old practice,
Mhm.
and it began with just sitting still and,
Mhm.
focusing on your breath.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I know sometimes when I was doing yoga, I would feel the kind of pressure of, oh, I have to hold this pose.
Yeah.
But I guess part of it is kind of realizing, oh, it's okay to fall out of it. It's okay to not be able to hold something at a particular moment. But I guess the strength is within holding it and continuing it and trying it. And I guess that's kind of like a metaphor for life. Like, you got to stay calm, kind of keep your posture, keep moving. So I'm sure it really helps to affect your personal life and control your emotions, Like it's hard for us. We all have moments where we're like, "Oh, I want to scream." But definitely like being able to just breathe and take a moment and kind of reconfigure yourself. I think that's really important. So,
Absolutely. And I love hearing that, just the yoga practice
mhm.
is about actually being comfortable with things in life that make you feel uncomfortable. So if you're not able to sustain a yoga pose,
Yeah.
maybe in the moment, you just give yourself that opportunity to have a couple of deep breaths,
Mhm.
and then you get back into it. And just
Yeah.
like with life,
Yeah.
when you're falling down, it's about getting back up and
Yeah.
trying again.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I really love that. So, can you kind of discuss a little bit about your IVF journey and what that experience was like for you?
Yes. So it was the toughest time in my life. Nobody ever tells you that, when you want to start a family as a woman, you think that it is so easy, boom, you're going to get pregnant. And, just looking back, um, during my struggles and then having that first miscarriage, I had undergone a lot of grief.
Yeah.
And that was so hard on my mind and my body. And what I did was I just got back on my yoga mat. And it was giving me the time to, like, slow down, because that's what the yoga practice is about. Like,
Mhm.
everybody has a different level of stress, okay? But you don't know what your body is handling. So you
Mhm.
could be, high functioning and able to get out there. Some people will sleep in bed all day. But,
Mhm.
you know, with the yoga practice, your body is screaming at you to slow down. And it gave me the opportunity to take a step back, to center my mind on top of my breath,
Mhm.
to allow myself to cry when I needed, because your body needs to exhale.
Mhm.
If you're holding something in,
Yeah.
it's counterproductive for
Mhm.
you. It can actually make you sick.
Yeah.
As much as you'd like to think, oh, I can have a positive mindset, your body could be crying inside, telling you, enough is enough. I need to slow down. So just that opportunity to get back on my mat, have my cry, even though it was in the middle of class, luckily, and the lights were low and they couldn't see me cry. It is exactly what I needed to get grounded. and to clear my mind and my body so that it could prepare my body for a full-term pregnancy.
Wow, that's so amazing. Congratulations on that. I think a lot of women struggle with that, like we all feel the pressures of not only society,
Yes.
but everybody around us. Everyone's like, oh, when are you having kids? Like, it's always a pressure that I don't think a lot of people really understand unless they are a woman. Like I personally would like to have a family of my own. And, it's interesting to hear, like, everybody makes it seem like they have such a perfect life. And then it's like, we all have some of the same struggles. So it's really interesting to hear you talk about that. So how would you say your fertility is directly linked with yoga?
Wonderful question. So the fertility practice and the connection that I have made when I was going through the grief, the miscarriage, there's a direct correlation. What I've discovered, like I said earlier, is that I needed to rest. Instead, I jumped right back in when I had my miscarriage, and I was like, no, I'm going to continue to fight and try to get pregnant. But what I really needed to do was to take a step back, slow down, so that my body and mind could be in sync and come into the alignment. So when I was able to, focus on my breathing, it cleared my mind and made me more centered. And I think that was all conducive to getting pregnant.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure some of this was all happening while you were still working on Wall Street.
Yes, exactly.
So I think that probably that very high stress environment probably really affected your body, and you just maybe, you didn't know.
Exactly.
So that's really interesting. I guess we all just kind of take on these things throughout our life, and we really kind of forget about how it affects our physical body.
Truly.
And we feel it mentally, we feel mentally tired, but I guess a lot of us don't really understand how our body is really going, because we just keep going and going and going, and we don't really have that chance to slow down. So I'm sure you've really seen a lot of transformations with people.
Exactly. And it's been a wonderful journey. Just giving back as a yoga for fertility entrepreneur and giving back to women and families who are struggling to conceive. It's been so rewarding to actually host workshops and to share not only my story, but other people's stories, their battle stories, and building that connection helps other people know that they are not alone.
Yeah. I think that's a problem. A lot of women, we feel as though we are alone, that we have to kind of keep everything together. But it's like sometimes you just can't, and you do need help from other people. So
truly,
what's really going through your mind when you're practicing yoga and when you're teaching people?
Great question. So when I'm teaching people, first of all, it is such a gift to lead a student through a practice, to lead a student to know that they can have freedom from their mind, because, again, the essence of yoga is to control that monkey mind and to know that they can come into any type of physical postures, and it doesn't have to be perfect, because it's not the yoga perfect, it's the yoga practice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that.
Yes, exactly. And they become, the interesting thing is, if you're a new student or a regular practitioner, you become stronger, resilient, and basically you begin to be able to conquer anything, any problem that comes along your way. And as a yoga teacher who practices, it gives me the opportunity to grow and evolve. It gives me the opportunity to just share and take a step back, and it allows me to become more compassionate, loving, and forgiving for myself. And in order for me to do that, I've got to fill my cup up before giving back to others.
Yeah, again, that's another thing that I think a tendency that a lot of women have is, we just give so much to other people, and especially when you start a family, you're so worried about your kids and your husband and your family life that you kind of forget to take care of yourself.
Exactly.
So I think it's really important that you mention that you have to fill your cup before you fill other people. So I think that's really important for our viewers to hear that.
Yes.
So, what can you tell us about your book? Tell us a little bit about your book.
Okay, so Finally Effing Fertile is actually like my love letter to the fertility community. It is based on my personal IVF struggles, and it helps women, individuals, and families who are struggling to conceive. And it is a great book so that they can understand what they need to do. And it doesn't always have to be with, you don't have to pick up the book just because you're interested in starting a family. Maybe you're ready to commit to health and wellness. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I think that's really important for all of us to keep in mind. Health and wellness. So, of course, your fertility struggles, but what else inspired you to write the book?
Uh, so many factors of consideration. First of all, I love helping people, of being of service.
Hmm.
And so when I know that somebody has tools that they actually have in their back pocket, but they don't have the instructions or they don't have the resources, this book is basically like that. So, for instance, there's a chapter here on breathwork and meditation.
Hmm.
You don't need a fancy studio. You don't need a high priced gym membership.
Hmm.
All you need is some quiet time, count your breaths. Maybe you're driving somewhere. All you would need to do is turn off the radio, listen to yourself think, perhaps even for the yoga practice, just go somewhere where you're comfortable clothes, sit on a cushion and do a couple of stretches. So it's really accessible tools that
Hmm.
you have within you
Yeah,
that you can use.
absolutely. So, where would you say you usually practice yoga? Do you have a studio that you use, or do you do private one-on-one yoga sessions? What's your most common way of practicing yoga?
Great question. So for me, practicing yoga, I have my own personal practice where
Mhm.
I get on the mat every day.
Oh, nice.
And whether it's 15 minutes, a half hour, or a full hour, I have my own practice. And sometimes I like to take different teachers because that helps me grow and evolve.
Oh, wow.
And then for my private clients,
Hmm.
I go to their homes.
Oh,
Yes.
nice. That's really
Yes.
cool.
So they get that one-on-one focused individual attention.
Yeah, everyone, you can call her up and, she'll come to you. So, do you have your own studio? Is that the practice or?
No, so basically the great perk about having a private session is
Mm.
that I come to you. I don't
Right.
have a yoga studio.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's really cool though. So you can definitely be in a place where the person is comfortable
In their sacred
in
space, I
their
like to call
space.
it.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
really nice. So is there like specific equipment that you like to use? Like obviously you use the yoga mat, but do you use maybe the blocks or any kind of other equipment?
Great question. So sometimes I do incorporate,
Mhm.
there's a yoga blanket,
Oh, okay.
there are cushions, there's definitely a yoga mat involved. Some people just like the good old yoga mat to lay
Yeah.
on, and that's fine. And some people like to incorporate props,
Mm.
and I'll kind of gauge their interests. And if they are interested in deepening their practice, we'll incorporate the blocks, the yoga strap, and the bolsters. But I like to see where they're at
Yeah.
and their comfort level.
Yeah, I know the tools can definitely kind of help you to push a little bit further, right?
Yes.
Have you gotten a lot of your friends and family members into yoga?
Yes, exactly. So my husband actually was practicing yoga when I first started
Oh.
teaching. Yes, so he loves it. And my son has dabbled in it. He's not really that much into it. And then friends and family, um, some like it and some don't, but that's all good.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it definitely takes a little bit of patience, like
Yeah.
you definitely have to give it a little bit of a try to get into it, But I think really the main part of it is really just removing yourself from the stressful environment. And I know personally, I like to go to a lot of the workout classes too. Like I really love the high intensity, but it's sometimes I don't know how good that is for you. Like maybe going to a place that's less stressful and less intense that could maybe benefit you a little bit more. So definitely speaking with you is giving me this kind of idea. Like maybe it doesn't always have to be such high intensity.
Exactly. And every day is different. Some
Yeah.
days you may want a slower yoga practice, which is
Mhm.
more restorative,
Right.
and then you could do it at home, or maybe with some videos, or perhaps you are craving something a little bit more physically rigorous, then
Yeah.
maybe you would go to a place where there was high intensity.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, how do you think your business has helped the community?
Oh, this is a wonderful question. So I've seen, you know, this community evolve in terms of yoga.
Mhm.
And what I really love about Long Island, it's a tight knit yoga community. And what I've seen in my group classes that I do teach on the beach during the summer, which is so beautiful,
Yeah.
there's a strong potential to bond because you're breathing together, you're coming from all these different backgrounds, and you have this shared experience. Can you imagine watching the
That
sunset
sounds so
and
beautiful.
breathing and practicing yoga? And everybody can share that
Yeah, that
no
sounds
matter
so
where you
peaceful.
are in life. Yes.
That's beautiful. I really love that.
Thank
I'm sure
you.
you really enjoy it.
I love it. It's truly one of the best offerings I give during the summer.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to look into it. I'm definitely going to give you a call.
Sounds good.
So, Lisa, is there anything else you want to share with our viewers at home before we go?
I'd love to direct anybody who is interested in contacting me. You can go directly to my website at lisapinedayoga.com. There you can see my offerings and get in touch with me if you have any questions.
All right, Lisa, thank you so much. You've been a wonderful guest on the show. And I can't wait to see, what more books you come out with and more of your journey.
Thank you so much for having me, Catherine.
You're welcome. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode of GC360. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.